I think we are growing as a country. Although I will agree with you that we are a bit behind, but it's better to have it now than never.
Hi, good day and welcome to another edition of the Lowdown here on Ghanaweb TV. My name is Daniel Oduro. Over the last several weeks, we've come to understand that organ donation and organ transplantation is very critical to our healthcare system. It has the potential to save lives and also improve the lives of those who are in dire need of organ transplantation in Ghana. We've spoken to the experts. They say the biggest challenge and bottleneck has been a lack of a comprehensive legislation to back organ transplantation and organ donation in Ghana. So today, our guest is a member of Parliament for Dwabuso in the Western region. He's a former Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, but primarily he's also a ranking member on the Parliamentary Health Committee. We're going to ask him why it has taken so long for Ghana to pass a law to regulate organ transplantation and organ donation in Ghana. It promises to be an exciting one. My guest is Honorable Kwabena Mintah Akandoh. Sir, good day and welcome to the Lowdown.
Thank you, bro.
It's my first time of meeting you.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
It's good to see young people in high position.
I'm no more young. I'm 43 years old.
Yes, but
I came to this house when I was, I think, 32.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
this is my
9 years old.
This is my third term.
Wow.
I was Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources when I was, I think, 33, 34.
Wow. So you are a career MP, I should say.
Well, I won't deny you of your words. So.
Anyway, Doc, Honorable, I think today our conversation will primarily focus on organ donation and organ transplantation in Ghana.
Yeah.
We've spoken to the experts. They say the biggest bottleneck is a lack of legislation to back it. You've been in Parliament for three terms, if I'm not mistaken. Do you know about organ donation and organ transplantation in Ghana?
Okay, to start with, if I don't do this correction, my region will not be happy with me. I come from Western North.
Western North.
I have ever come from Western region before, but now we are an independent region.
Western North.
It's Western North.
Right.
And before we delve into the organ donation and transplant, I will take you through how laws are made in this country, especially through Parliament. So in this case, the law emanates, most of the laws we do emanate from the executive level.
Okay.
So, for example, this one, in this case, the Ministry of Health.
Okay.
So we call them the sponsor agency. Okay. So it emanates from the ministry. The ministry, they also engage what we call stakeholders engagement, before they take it to cabinet. After cabinet has approved, then they will bring it to Parliament. It becomes the property of Parliament.
Okay.
Then we begin to look at the law.
Okay.
And it passes through, stages. We have the first reading, the second reading, where we'll have to file amendments, and then before the final reading is done, we'll pass it into law. After Parliament has passed the law, the bill into an act, then it requires the signature of the president, that is to assent.
Okay.
So that is the process.
But is that the only way? Because we know about private members.
Yes, that's also another way.
Right.
But that is why I began by saying most of them, especially when it has financial implication on our public purse. Okay.
Right.
When it has financial implications, financial burden on the state, private member cannot sponsor such a bill.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so that is the bottom line. I know a bit about organ donation and transplanting. Whether we like it or not, it is going on in our country.
Yes.
Okay. And as I speak to you now, I'm told that Rich and Kolebu, they've, undertaken such activities for some time now. And it's a gray area when it comes to the health sector in this country.
Right.
I am of the candid opinion that we have come of age to look at that sector, that section, carefully, to have a regime, a regulatory regime that will allow us to, regulate that sector. But, and a big but,
Okay.
I am not oblivious of the fact that there could be abuse
Right.
of the system.
Right.
Okay, we sit in this house and we make so many laws, and sometimes, on hindsight, you get discouraged making, some of those laws. So we must be very careful and learn from best practices across the world. Okay, I've heard about an incident from Nigeria where a politician or
The senator,
a
yeah.
highly placed person in society had to take somebody to UK for, donation and transplanting.
Right.
But it turned out that the person didn't consent to it.
They were being induced financially.
Exactly. And so we must be very careful about how donors consent.
Okay.
It's very, very important. The donor must have the capacity to consent before donating.
Okay.
Okay, that's very important. The second issue also has to do with the fact that we will not subject the vulnerables in society to some of these abuse.
Right.
You understand? Again, we must also get to a point where we have a registry for donation, where people can also go and willingly register that when I pass, when I die, and there are any organs that can save others,
Right.
you can use those organs to do so. Because, for example, if somebody is engaged in an accident, okay, some of the organs may be viable.
Very viable.
And so we can use those organs to also save other lives. So I think that we must critically look at that section and make the law such that it will create a win-win situation. It will not encourage people to kill people indiscriminately. We won't have health professionals who will even harvest organs without the consent of, their donors and what have you. So for me, basically, I believe that we have come of age to look at that gray area.
Okay. On the Parliamentary Health Committee, has this conversation ever come to that committee?
Well, we haven't started such a conversation. To the best of my knowledge,
Okay.
I became a member of the Health Committee during the last Parliament. The last quarter of the last Parliament, I became the ranking member on the committee,
Okay.
and then this Parliament. But since I became a member of the committee, we have not had such, a conversation. But that doesn't mean that that committee has never had that conversation before, because I've always not been a member of the committee.
Okay. But are you surprised that as a country, as a nation, we're in 2023 and that conversation has not started? At least it needs to start so that there's an exhaustive consultation as to the loopholes that could arise so that we can have a comprehensive legislation.
Yes, I'm a bit surprised, but kudos to some of you who are bringing it to the front burner for all of us to discuss it and then, start the process.
Right.
Most laws start this way. They start with the conversations in the public domain, and then we fine-tune it and gets through Parliament and we'll pass it into law. I think that is a fantastic work some of you are doing.
Okay. You did mention that you've heard about Kolebu, Rage, and other big hospitals doing transplantation. And you do know that it must be guided by certain ethics and regulation. Do you have oversight over some of these things? Do you ask questions as to how are these things being done? Have they sought consent of the people who are donating? For example, kidney and cornea transplants are big in Ghana, we are told.
Yeah. As I have already indicated, it's a gray area. We don't have laws regulating the sector. As far as I know, in Ghana, they rely on relatives to do the donation to save whatever. But you see, our laws are not clear. But sometimes you are in between death and life.
Yeah.
Though you don't have clear laws regulating the sector, but people are willing to save lives. Okay? So you don't say, let the person die because we don't have laws. Laws are made for human beings. We don't make human beings for laws. You understand? So it is as a result of all these things that we are getting to have this conversation, then we build on. So for now, even sperm donation, we don't even have laws regulating it.
But they are
we don't even have banks to store these, organs. So we must even be talking about the infrastructure.
Right.
Okay, sperm donation. How many days, how many weeks can we store it? Who is there to play that oversight role? These are all gray areas. And I think we are growing as a country. Although I will agree with you that we are a bit behind, but it's better to have it now than never.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you say to critics who say politicians have been slow in passing it because they have the financial muscle to travel outside to do it if they ever need it or their family members ever do need it?
Oh, I would disagree. Who tells you every politician has money?
Don't you have money?
I mean, it's not the case. I don't want to go into that, but I can tell you we are the most vulnerable in society.
Are you?
Yeah. We are the most vulnerable. Probably we'll leave that for another day. We are the most vulnerable in society. So
that's not the reason.
That's not the reason. I mean, why do you blame politicians alone when it is like, I mean, we are all starting the conversation now. Not all politicians are medical doctors.
Right.
Not all politicians are health professionals. Yeah. So some of this conversation, it starts from somewhere, from the health sector. Okay. The media picks it up. You come to the legislators. Then we all carry on. Okay. Why do you blame it on the politician who should make the decision probably at the final end?
I'll be a bit cynical. Someone says we are spending time talking about LGBT when people are losing their lives.
LGBT is also it's as important as what we are talking about.
Is it?
Yes, it has health implications. Okay. Don't downplay the effect of LGBT on our country, in our society. Never. I would disagree with anybody who would downplay that.
That's an aside.
Yes. So anybody who says that, it's an attempt to downplay the LGBT issue. No, that can never be tolerated. Okay. No, it's very important.
It's 1.5 years to the end of the termination of this parliament. Is it possible for the conversation to start at your level? I mean, what would it take for the conversation to start? I think you gave us some preamble as
exactly.
to how
Exactly. So I think that you must begin to also, it's a good thing. Mm-hmm. You can't do it all alone. Mm-hmm. I mean, get to the health professionals, speak to them. Once you speak to them, get to the Ministry of Health, speak to the minister, and you are speaking to some of us. I think that once you've spoken to every sector, once the conversation starts, everybody's already aware. Okay. And then we can all be on the same page.
But can you go to the next committee sitting, and bring this matter up?
Well, it's a conversation you have started. Mm-hmm. So I will mention it mm-hmm. at any of our committee sittings. If the minister happens to be around, that will be an informal discussion anyway. Mm-hmm. I'll mention it to him to seek his opinion on it, and I'll promise him of your support.
Maybe you'll be an ambassador to ensure that this.
Why not? Anything to save life is very important. Why not? It's very, very, very important. People travel outside the country, it's more expensive when you travel outside. It's about in India. I'm told, I stand to be corrected, it's around $250,000 in India. But Kolebu and Rich, they do it around $21,000.
Yes, that's the last one they had. That's how much they spent.
Exactly, 21,000 as compared to 250 something thousand. There's a huge difference. So it's a conversation that we must all start. Okay. And nobody knows who will be the next victim.
Okay. This is still the Lowdown on Ghanaweb TV. My name is Oduro. Today I'm speaking with a member of Parliament. Kwabena Mintah Akandoh has served as Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources in the past. These days he's very keen on health issues because he's a ranking member on the Health Committee in Parliament. We're having a conversation about organ donation and transplantation and the lack of legislation around it and what needs to be done to ensure that this legislation is passed. We'll go for our first break. When we return, we'll have our final 15 minutes with Honorable Kwabena Mintah Akandoh. Stay with us. We're back after the break.
Everyone needs the perfect snack to munch on during a fun moment. Wow. Enjoy the tasty McBerry Twist cupcakes, deliciously baked and packaged for a sweet treat. Premium quality cakes baked with love for all, enriched in butter and milk.
Yummy.
McBerry Twist Cupcakes. Simply irresistible. Try one today. This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back from the break. This is still the Lowdown on Ghanaweb TV. My name is Daniel Oduro. Today, our guest is Honorable Kwabena Mintah Akandoh. He says these days he's Western North Member of Parliament in the Jaboso constituency. He's been in Parliament for 3 terms. As a young man, entered Parliament and has done 3 terms. Are you going to go again?
Yes, I'm going to go again. By God's grace, I went unopposed in our primaries.
Okay.
And my people still think they need my service.
Okay. So. All right. What do you make of the progress we have made in our health sector? Not this government, the previous government. Do you think we've made substantial gains in the healthcare delivery system?
We're on the right path until now. We were making a lot of gains. If you remember, there are a lot of health facilities that sprang up during the last regime. Yeah, they were seeking to add not less than, I think, 6,000 bed capacity to the already existing ones. So you will talk of Afari Hospital, Oduro Hospital, you talk about the expansion of Rage, you talk about Kumawu, you talk about Kwabena. All these hospitals are major hospitals that were coming to beef up our health infrastructure. The University of Ghana Medical Center is a unique one. It's a quaternary level. We've never had such, hospital in Ghana before. You can only compare it to a hospital in Israel. You understand? So we're making a lot of progress. Unfortunately, 7 years down the lane, some of these facilities have still not been completed. It's a very sad, thing to hear.
Yeah.
It's a very sad thing to hear.
Politicians do that. You don't want to finish what your predecessors started or the other government started. So this government has started its own agenda 111 to do over 100 facilities.
That doesn't make sense, and especially when it comes to the health sector. If it's about, housing and any other thing, I can forgive anybody who does that. But we are talking about health.
Okay.
Remember when the minister responsible for health had COVID? Yeah. He was relaxing in University of Ghana Medical Center. You never know. You understand? So when it comes to health, it has no political coloration.
Okay.
So you have to do your best in the sector when you are given the opportunity.
Okay. So
you leave projects for 6 years, 7 years, projects which were as near as 80-85% complete. And 7 years down the lane, they are still not completed.
Okay.
So it has slowed down the pace at which the health sector, in terms of infrastructure, was moving. Okay. And there are a lot of things in the health sector. You hear a lot of health professionals leaving this country.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm not saying that this is the first time a lot of health professionals are leaving this country, but these days the numbers are huge.
Have you discussed it at your level?
Yes, we've discussed it at every level. We've discussed on the floor of the House. It's been part of my debate during budget approval and all that. It's scary.
What are your solutions? The bottom line is the finances. They are not being paid well. They are not being remunerated well.
Yes, so we should make an attempt to do that.
Okay.
In fact, there are other people, there are other health professionals who are sitting at home. Okay, who are sitting at home. They even need what we describe as not sufficient, and we are not employing them. We have backlogs. And yet we are telling ourselves that we want to, transport health professionals from this country to another country. Are we joking? If we have enough, why not? We can think through that direction and say end foreign exchange. Okay, but we must first of all save the citizenry in this country in that regard before we think about sending people, health professionals outside the country. So there are a lot of challenges in the health sector. Okay, as I speak to you now, just like you mentioned, if you could remember, the president promised in the year 2000 that he was going to construct 88 hospitals. By the end of 2020, not a single one was constructed. They upgraded it to 111. Even the 88, they couldn't. In the 111, if you could also remember, they said they were going to finish between 12 to 16 months. Okay? It's about 2 years down the lane. The last time the president appeared on the floor of the House, the president said that he was going to finish all the 111 hospitals before he hands over. Okay? Per the records available to us and the money. Don't forget that all these things are done by money.
Of course.
They don't have the budget. In fact, it is projected by this government that they are finishing the Agenda 111, provided they get even the required amount of money. They are finishing in 2027. Where will he be? This is how we are handling the health sector. Do you recall that we passed a levy, COVID levy? Okay. Once it is related to sickness, any rational human being would think that we'll use that tax or levy to develop our health sector. Go and ask how much is being spent in the health sector. We spent billions of Ghana cedis, about 25 billion Ghana cedis when COVID came. Okay, a fine opportunity to invest in the health sector. Ask me how much was invested in the health sector. Not more than 1/10 of the money was invested in the health sector. It was an opportunity for us to squander the money anyhow. So as for the health sector, we have big major challenges. There are some of these Agenda 111. You go to site and absolutely nothing is happening. Now, some few days ago, I intentionally didn't mind that man. I mean, what do they even call him? Dr. Insiansa. He calls himself the advisor to the advisor to the president on health. I mean, he's not answerable to me. He doesn't appear before the committee. So when he's speaking, I don't feel like responding to him. It is a minister who appears before us, the president who appears, is the vice president who appears before us. So I don't feel like. So they went on, what do you call it? Roadshow, and trying to portray to the whole world that there's something going on. Meanwhile, the records available to us and the money you have allocated, you don't have the money.
So it's a money problem.
It's a money problem. You don't have it, and there's no commitment, because they are happy allocating money to go and build cathedral than allocating money.
The cathedral is not ongoing. I think they don't have money to do it.
But in that same budget they presented, they allocated money to cathedral.
Anyway.
Until we tried to disagree with them that at least we must think like human beings. Okay? You don't go build cathedral whilst you don't have health facilities in your country. And in fact, my brother, just like you are doing, I will beg of you to start a small study in the already existing health facilities, and you'll be shocked what you see and what you hear. It's rotten.
It's rotten.
It's rotten. You get to some places they call emergency unit, and you'll be amazed what you see yourself. We don't have the equipment. We don't have the infrastructure. Yet because of political...
But it's a successive government who are all to blame for it, no?
So that is, you see, when you come, you do your bits. I told you what the former regime did. In fact, at some point in time, they even bought equipment for the already existing hospitals. So a problem that has been created over so many years, you can't solve it overnight. But your effort must be appreciated. Okay. Your effort must be so conspicuous for everybody to know that, look, this is what you are doing. So within 1 year, look, this government is the only government that in a matter of 4 years, one complete term, they couldn't even finish one hospital in the history of Ghana. Not a single one.
I will need to cross-check that.
Yes, so
I don't have the fact, so.
Do.
Okay.
I have done this thing for a very long time. I don't lie to my people.
Let's talk about
you wouldn't have come here.
Let's talk about the National Health Insurance Scheme.
Okay, all right.
Been there for over 2 decades, started by the Kufuor administration. What do you make of it? Is it working?
There's a major problem. Very, very, very. Recently, if you saw some videos that went very viral, I was trying to explain to Ghanaians how the National Health Insurance is not working. Okay, there's a problem. The law is clear. The National Health Insurance Act is clear. That when you and I, if you buy water, if you go to a restaurant, if you go and have, check your receipt, National Health Insurance is there. So it's money that you get upfront. So nobody has any reason to say there's no money. It's not anybody's money. It's you and I. It's a special vehicle, it's a special purpose vehicle that has been created. You understand? And so the money is very reliable. The law says that when you take the money, in a matter of 30 days, 1 month, lodge the money into the National Health Insurance Fund. Kenoforiata, don't take the money anywhere. Lodge it into the national. That's the law. That's the position of the law. So you can't come back and tell me that you are owing service providers in excess of 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, 7 months. What did you use the money for? In some cases, when they come back to us in their budget, okay, they go beyond what has been budgeted for. You understand? And so that is the position of the law. But what we see is that they owe the facilities, they don't release the money. The minister for finance doesn't release the money on time. So they accumulate the arrears for a very long time. Okay? You know, we are in a country of a very high inflation, depreciation of the cedi and all that. So if the service provider runs into an arrears for more than 5 months,
by the
6
time the money
months,
is released,
the money is
would have lost
useless.
its value.
So that is why you see what we call co-payment in some of the facilities. That is why people don't even have the appetite to go and renew their national health insurance, because you will hold the card, go to the health facility, and they will still tell you there's no medication.
Okay.
You understand? Because government or the national health insurance scheme owes them.
So how would your committee ensure that these
You are the only stranger.
does it mean it's just a talk shop? Does it
No,
mean
it's not a talk shop. Don't forget that my job is talking. Don't forget, my job is talking.
Okay.
I don't draw machete to go and butcher anybody.
Okay.
I'm a member of parliament. What I do is that I oversight the executive.
Yeah.
So when something is going on wrong, I talk.
Okay.
And if you have any responsible government, any listening government, the government who mean very well for the citizenry, will then listen and implement.
Okay.
You understand? So on various levels, we've brought this to the fore. And we have shown the graph, the performance of the national health insurance for the past years. In 2021, they paid only 6% of the amount that was collected. 6%. It has never happened in the country's history before. As if that was not enough. In 2022, they paid 0%. So whatever money
what was the explanation?
They don't have the president, the president brother or whatever who is sitting in the Ministry of Finance feels he's untouchable, and so he will decide to do what he wants. Arabian king. You know, they are not releasing the money to the fund. Whatever money they are using now is something that should have been paid in 2021 and 2022. I would not be surprised that in 2020, by the time they are bringing the 2024 budget, okay, nothing has even been paid with respect to 2023.
I was asking about the national health because in terms of the organ transplant and in the absence of the laws and the difficulty in getting a transplant, for kidney patients, for example, they have to be on dialysis. The conversation has been, can the national health even partially pay part of it, because it's a straight...
It's a conversation we have to begin looking at. But you ask yourself, what is the strength of the existing national health insurance? People don't even feel like subscribing to it because they have the cards, they go to the hospitals and they don't get what they need. You understand? So, but it's a very good conversation we must begin to look at whether we can look at things like dialysis as part of the national health insurance. Don't forget that most, I'm not saying all, but most of these patients are people who have served this country for a very long time, and they are above their 50s and 60s. They've paid their dues to the country. In any serious country, you don't joke with the aged. But in this country, the aged will sweat, will take their money and say they can go to hell. That's the country you find yourself. But in any...
That's the country you are my MP.
Yes, that's true. That's correct. That's correct. It's unfortunate, but that's where you come from.
So you don't think Ghana is worth dying for?
Well, I will not say because of the irresponsibility of somebody, you shouldn't die for the country.
Okay.
You understand? You should do your best. You should do your best. But you see, what you do today, okay, you'll be remembered for in future.
Okay.
You'll be remembered for. What His Excellency Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo is doing today will be there till that kingdom come. What his father did, okay, people know of that in this country. So don't think that you are just doing anything for...
Austerity will judge all of us.
All of us. All of us. So what you do today will affect your children, your grandchildren. So when you get the opportunity, do your best. Don't look at what somebody has done or has not.
Okay. Finally, what's your final message to your people, your constituents, ahead of the next general election? What do you plan to do for them?
Oh, you see, if we start conversation on my constituency, we won't finish today. My constituency is a rural constituency. And for me, I have stated it everywhere. This is a very controversial statement, but I do. I have said that no member of parliament in this country has used his common fund judiciously to serve his people more than me. I have not said I have done it more than anybody. Listen to the statement carefully. Listen to the statement carefully.
Your common fund.
I have not said that I have served my people better than any MP. That is not what I have said. But I have said that no member of parliament has used his common fund more judiciously than me.
Okay.
You understand?
What have you used it for?
We have some funds available to every member of parliament. We have some portion of the national health insurance. We have some portion of the common fund, about 4.5 to 5%. And we have some portion of the GET fund, all put together. These are supposed to be emergency funds. So you go to the place, somebody's school fees, some bulb, some small things. But I come from a rural constituency. Our needs are many. So I'm compelled to build school classrooms with this money.
Okay.
So when you go to a place like Abrokofe, 4-unit classroom building, if you go to KFAS in my constituency, I'm putting up another 3-unit classroom block. Minimum, every year, I do not less than 2 chips compounds in my constituency. 2 chips compounds.
Every year?
Every year, minimum.
So you have more than 10 or 20?
So that is since I became a member of the health committee.
Okay, all right.
Do you understand? So as I speak to you now, we have not less than 4 ongoing.
Okay.
Chips compounds alone. I've built a multi-purpose, a complex hall, which if you go and cost is millions in the Jabuti Senior High School. It is used for both dining and an assembly. I mean, major events are being done there.
Well, that's why they keep voting for you.
Oh yeah, but you see, I'm humbled by the reactions I get. You are going to primaries and everybody says, "Oh, Charlie, the guy has performed. Let's allow him." It doesn't mean
so you go unopposed.
Yeah. So it must humble you to be able to do more. You understand? For me, I believe that the higher you go, the more humble you should become to serve your people. After all, nipa yede. You understand? So once you have energy, serve your people.
Okay.
And you will never regret it. I mean, that's my hobby.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, brother.
Thank you for your time. My name is Daniel Oduro. Our guest has been Honorable Kwabena Mintah Akandoh. Hopefully, we'll bring the conversation to the front burner and have some legislation on organ donation and organ harvesting and transplantation in Ghana. This has been another edition of the Lowdown here on Ghanaweb TV. We'll be back another time with another edition. Until then, it's bye for now.